mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, sisters and brothers, grandmothers and grandfathers, partners, and all other family members and friends of the graduate student class of 2014. Welcome to San Francisco State University on this historic afternoon to celebrate our 113th commencement exercises and our very first graduate commencement ceremony. I'm Marty Gonzalez, Professor of Broadcast and Electronic Communication Arts, and I'm pleased to be the announcer for your commencement ceremony today. Again this year, thanks to our Disability Programs and Resource Center, we have interpreters for those who are deaf or hard of hearing so that more of our guests can enjoy the ceremony. Our interpreters, David Hahn and Lolita White, are standing in front on the north side of the stadium. Our ceremony is also being captioned on the big screen. We'd like to remind you that assistance is available for anyone who experiences a medical or other emergency. In the event of a general emergency, please follow directions from the University Police and Professional Events staff. Our graduates will be entering the stadium first, followed by the recipients of the 2014 Graduate Student Distinguished Achievement Award, and followed next by the university faculty. Concluding the processional will be the platform party led by Lawrence Hanley, Professor of English Literature and Chair of the Academic Senate. Our graduates will be marching into the stadium in 4 separate lines by college, 2 lines on the north side of the stadium, 2 lines on the south. And now, ladies and gentlemen, entering the stadium led by their faculty marshals, San Francisco State University's graduating students. Entering the stadium on the north side, the College of Liberal and Creative Arts, with graduate degree programs in anthropology, art, broadcast and electronic communication arts, Chinese, cinema, classics, communication studies, comparative literature, creative writing, drama, English with concentrations in composition, creative writing, linguistics, literature, and teaching English to speakers of other languages, French, German, history, humanities, industrial arts, international relations, Italian, Japanese, museum studies, music, philosophy, political science, Spanish, theater arts with a concentration in design and technical production, and women and gender studies. Also entering on the north side, the College of Science and Engineering, with graduate degree programs in biology, with concentrations in cell and molecular biology, ecology, evolution and conservation biology, marine biology, microbiology, physiology and behavioral biology, biomedical science with concentrations in biotechnology and stem cell science, chemistry with a concentration in biochemistry, computer science with concentrations in computing and business, computing for life science, and software engineering, engineering with concentrations in embedded electrical and computer systems, energy systems, structural and earthquake engineering, geographic information science, geography with a concentration in resource management and environmental planning, geosciences, marine science, mathematics, physics with a concentration in astronomy, and psychology with concentrations in clinical psychology, developmental psychology, industrial and organizational psychology, mind-brain behavior, social psychology, and school psychology. On the south side of the stadium, the College of Ethnic Studies, with graduate degree programs in Asian American Studies and Ethnic Studies. Also, the Graduate College of Education, with graduate degree programs in education with concentrations in adult education, early childhood education, educational administration, elementary education, equity and social justice in education, instructional technologies, language and literary education, mathematics education, secondary education, special education, and special interest area. And on the south side of the stadium, the College of Health and Social Sciences, with graduate degree programs in counseling with a concentration in marriage, family, and child counseling, family and consumer sciences, gerontology, kinesiology, nursing with a concentration in family nurse practitioner, physical therapy science, public administration, public health, recreation, parks and tourism, rehabilitation counseling, sexuality studies, and social work. And now entering on the south side of the stadium, the College of Business, with graduate degree programs in accountancy, business administration with a concentration in sustainable business and economics. On the north side of the stadium, the Graduate College of Education, with doctoral degree programs in educational leadership and philosophy and special education. Also, the graduate degree program in communicative disorders. And now, ladies and gentlemen, entering the stadium this afternoon, the representatives of the faculty of San Francisco State University. Ladies and gentlemen, now entering the stadium, led by their faculty marshals, are the recipients of the 2014 Graduate Student Distinguished Achievement Award. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the faculty of San Francisco State University. And now entering the stadium for Graduate Commencement 2014, San Francisco State University's 113th Commencement Exercises and first Graduate Commencement, the President's Party, led by Lawrence Hanley, Chair of the Academic Senate, with San Francisco State University President Leslie E. Wong, Commencement Speaker Dr. Rong Wong, and other honored guests. And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the singing of the national anthem? Providing the music for the processional and throughout today's ceremony are the Andrew Spate Quintet and the Holloway Quartet with guest performers. Our soloist for the national anthem is Charles Blake Quinn, earning his Bachelor of Music degree.
What so bright Thank you, Mr. Quinn. What an impressive opening for San Francisco State University's 113th commencement celebration. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Members of, and especially welcome to members of the San Francisco State University class of 2014. Good afternoon. A warm welcome to all of our guests and to the families of our graduates. For you, as it is for them, this is a historic day. You have looked forward to this ceremony almost as eagerly as our students, and your presence this afternoon adds greatly to their pride and pleasure. Today, as we mark the completion of San Francisco State's 115th year, we host the first ever graduate commencement ceremony to pay special tribute to our students earning graduate degrees. And it is fitting that we do so today because I am pleased to report that this graduating class is the finest in the history of this great university. I am also proud to announce that among the members of the class of 2014 are 12 graduate students whom we all owe a debt of gratitude because they are veterans of the armed forces who chose to serve their country before pursuing their degrees. To our veterans, thank you for all that you have done on our behalf. And please accept our congratulations and deeply felt gratitude. Joining us on the platform are some special guests who will be introduced by our announcer, Professor Marty Gonzalez of the Department of Broadcast and Electronic Communication Arts.
Please stand and remain standing as your name is called, and audience, please hold your applause until everyone has been introduced. Lolo Hong, Vice President of Student Affairs. Robert Nava, Vice President of University Advancement. Nancy Feudham, Board Member of the San Francisco State University Foundation. Ron Cortez, Vice President and Chief Financial Officer. Lawrence Hanley, Chair of the Academic Senate. Ann Hallam, Dean of Graduate Studies. Sasha Bunge, Dean of Faculty Affairs and Professional Development. Deborah Masters, University Librarian. Marianne Begley, Interim Dean of Students.
Also with us on the platform and in the audience in the first few rows are representatives of the group that is the true heart and soul of the university, our outstanding faculty. And will the faculty please rise? Graduates, while you have been students here, they have helped you to gain knowledge of self and of subject matter as they have both challenged and supported you. As principled women and men of intellectual distinction, they care deeply about each and every one of you. I know that they feel both great pride in your achievements and just a hint of sadness as you prepare to leave us. Please join me in another round of applause for these dedicated faculty members who have devoted their lives to teaching and learning.
Susie Rosser, Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs, will join us with remarks about graduate education at San Francisco State University.
Our ceremony today provides an opportunity to acknowledge the importance of graduate programs at San Francisco State University. A master's degree or professional doctorate has become increasingly necessary for success in most academic and professional areas. The speed of changes in the job market, sparked by advances in technology, dramatically increases the demand for flexible, adaptable, well-educated professionals with advanced skills. San Francisco State University exemplifies the emphasis that the California State University system has placed upon access to graduate education, particularly for students who are underrepresented in doctoral study and in various professions. Our division of graduate studies is one of the largest and most prestigious in the California State University system. Students from across the United States and countries all over the world compete for acceptance into some of our graduate programs. Here are some highlights. The National Science Foundation ranks San Francisco State 4th nationally among master's level colleges and universities for the total number of graduates who go on to receive research doctorates. Our history graduate program sends more students into PhD programs than any other master's granting university in the country. U.S. News and World Report consistently ranks our doctoral program in physical therapy offered jointly with the University of California at San Francisco, UCSF, in the top 20 nationally among all physical therapy programs in the country. Other graduate programs listed among the best in the United States by the U.S. News and World Report include art, communicative disorders, public administration, and rehabilitation counseling. Our creative writing, philosophy, cinema, broadcast, and electronic communication arts, museum studies, computer science, psychology, and sustainable business programs are nationally recognized in their disciplines and draw top international students and applicants from across the country. Graduate students seeking degrees in the fields of science develop their skills in the Conservation Genetics Laboratory, the Romberg-Tiburon Center for Environmental Studies, and the Nuclear Magnetic Resonance Center. Our student research team competing at the system-wide 23-campus CSU research competition has won the most research awards in the CSU system for the last 3 years. The students recognized here today are already making an impact on our world, and we anticipate eagerly the contributions that they will make in the future in their chosen field. Now, Lolo Hong, our new Vice President for Student Affairs, will introduce our student speaker.
Diana Hernandez Juarez Madera began life in a remote rural village in Mexico as the daughter of farm workers. Diana's curiosity as a child led her to contemplate life's big questions, such as, why are we here? Could there be life on another planet? Growing up, Diana was surrounded by people telling her that women could not do well in science and that to achieve any dream, she would have to come from an influential family. With her mother's encouragement, however, Diana excelled in school, leading her to be the first person in her family to earn a bachelor's degree. After graduation, Diana competed for and won an international award that granted her an internship at the University of California, Santa Cruz to study astrophysics. Today, Diana is receiving a Master of Science degree in physics. And in the fall, she will begin doctoral studies at Stanford University in aeronautics and astronautics. Diana, will you please come forward?
Who is here to celebrate one of the greatest days of your life? Yay! Fellow students, families, professors, thank you all for coming here today. It is such an honor to have been chosen as the student commencement speaker of the first ever graduate commencement ceremony in the history of San Francisco State University. Today, I would like to share with you a couple of stories which, hopefully, will give you insight into your own. My grandfather, Jesus Madera, taught me perseverance through hard work and determination. He lived in an impoverished community without electricity or clean drinking water, but he worked hard to provide a good life for his family. Although he was not a carpenter nor architect, he built a house for his children and wife with his own hands. He shared his passion for learning by founding schools in several villages, expanding literacy among his people, and giving them an opportunity to improve their lives through social justice. I feel proud to be the eldest grandchild of Jesus Madera. His example taught me that to be a leader, you do not need to have a lot of money or come from an influential family. Thank you, Grandpa. I will treasure you in my heart forever. I have shared with you my grandfather's gift of perseverance. Now let me share my mother's gift of motivation. Growing up in a remote village in Mexico, a woman involved in science is unheard of. My expected future was simple: get married young and raise children. Despite the appalling atmosphere, my mother told me that the only legacy she could ever leave me with was an education. 5 years ago, I had just competed for a chance to do state-of-the-art research in Europe. I was so hopeful that I would be selected. After all, I had worked hard to excel at school since elementary, and it was my dream. Life, however, had different plans. I lost that competition. It seemed like my dream had died. Not deterred, my mother told me that closed doors are not a setback. They are just a setup for greater things to come. I kept firm and kept on trying. In 2009, I was awarded the International John Bacall Award. It granted me an astrophysics internship at UC Santa Cruz. In fact, losing the research competition was a good thing after all. It was at UC Santa Cruz where I found love for the first time and someone to share my life with. My husband, Carlos, is actually graduating here today as well. He, along with his family, offers me amazing support. I love you, Carlos. Losing gave me a grander opportunity to study here in the physics and astronomy department, where my professors always found a way to propel me forward. Thank you, Dr. Barranco. Thank you, Dr. Lee and Caroline, and the entire department. I realized that only here, in this rich, diverse school, San Francisco State University, my story could have been possible in the first place. So thank you, SF State. As for my personal goal, I want to reward my mother. She is the reason why I am standing before you today. Gracias, mami. Te quiero mucho. For everyone here, if there is one thing for you to take from today, it is that in every disappointment, there is greater opportunity. Even when it seems that all the odds are against you, let go of any fear. Embrace your future and do not settle for good enough. 2014 graduates, please join me in thanking all the people that made today possible as we go forth into the next chapter of our lives. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Diana, for giving voice to the achievements and aspirations of your classmates. As a young girl in China, Rong Wang remembers knowing early on that education was important. She was inquisitive and interested in all kinds of things, but she chose to focus on math, chemistry, and physics. Because, in her words, if you excelled in those subjects, you could go anywhere. And she was right. Her expertise has taken her around the world. She was raised as the daughter of activist parents in what she calls a dark time in China. Her father was a newspaper editor whose opposition to the government policies led to his imprisonment. Growing up, she alternated time between living with her parents in prison camps and living with relatives in rural villages. Despite these hardships, she was an excellent student who, even as a young girl, led classroom discussions when visiting rural schools whose teachers had less education than she did. She is certainly a gifted intellect, but equally important to her successes has been her challenge to challenge herself. As a child, she loved running and the high jump. She pursued both, even though they were not considered appropriate activities for young girls at the time. She excelled in sports, even though her parents thought her pursuit of them was crazy. That desire to continually challenge herself helped her make the decision to pursue doctoral studies in the United States, and it set in motion her incredible career in vascular research. As a postdoctoral fellow, she worked in the laboratory of Michael Bishop when he won the Nobel Prize in Medicine. She is now the director of the Wang Laboratory for Accelerated Vascular Research at UC San Francisco. Her state-of-the-art research investigating the key molecular regulators necessary for blood vessel formation and function has resulted in groundbreaking discoveries that could lead to improved tissue regeneration and better treatment of blood vessel-related diseases like stroke, heart attacks, and cancer. Dr. Rong Wang exemplifies the power of applying an excellent mind to challenging problems. She applies her education, passion, and creativity to advance both science and medicine. Her work makes a difference in people's lives, and it will have an impact for generations to come. I am delighted to introduce your commencement speaker, Dr. Rong Wang.
Well, thank you, President Wang, for that more than generous introduction and for your very kind invitation. I'm truly honored to be here for your first only graduate division commencement. Esteemed President, distinguished faculty and staff, proud family and friends, honored guests, and most of all, the fabulous class of 2014. Congratulations! A shout out to the parents and the family members here for your love and everything you've done for your graduates. And to the faculty and the staff, yeah? And to the faculty and the staff for your incredible effort, creativity, and encouragement. You have all made San Francisco State the wonderful university it is. Here in our beautiful city, I can feel your energy, your talent, and promise as a global and a diverse public institution of our time. Graduates, today is your special day. It's my special day as well. This is the first time that I have wear cap and gown. Like many of you, I came to this country for graduate study. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend my own commencement back in East Coast. So I view today as a makeup, and I'm thrilled to celebrate the moment with you. Yeah. As you turn new page in your chapter, in your life, I would like to offer 3 words that served me well: desire, attitude, and open. First, the story of desire. This is my own story. As said, I was born in China at the time when my parents were in deep political trouble. As a child, I spent part of my early years in political confinement, labor camps, or home restriction. Due to the hardship, my mother became disabled, unable to take care of herself or to carry her baby to full term. I was born premature and 28 weeks. Yet from age 8, I became the caregiver for my mom and a newborn baby sister. I wanted to go to school so much, and I tried to carry my sister on my back to go to school. Unfortunately, every day, a group of boys would block my way home, beat me, and insult me. This situation made it impossible for me to continue. So for 3 years, I only attended the first day of the school for registration and the last day for final exam. However, from 4th grade to high school graduation, I have not missed a single day of school. In fact, since 4th grade, I have been in school continuously, from a student in a developing country to a professor in the developed world. Thank you. Thank you. Looking back, there were extraordinary challenges in this journey. English, for one, is a huge barrier. My native language is Chinese, a shape and a formed-based language. Initially, I couldn't tell the difference between brain in my head and the name Brian. I did not realize that my professor's name was not Brain, as I called him, but Brian. Our classmates corrected me, remarking, "At least you were complimenting him." I have to spend much more time double-checking my grammar and spelling for everything I say and I write. Otherwise, I could be unintentionally complimenting people around. Or not. President Wang, I'm very sorry this experience was not on my CV. However, I applaud your leadership to include diverse and international perspectives at this remarkable university. It is especially hard as an immigrant and a woman in a highly competitive field of science. Science is not a 9-to-5 job. I spend many evenings and weekends in my lab. I often pick up my son from school and spend time with him, but return to the lab after he went to sleep. Although my son, Christopher, who is here today, has been exceedingly understanding the demands of my profession. It has not been easy, but I stayed on because of my childhood yearning. My mother was unable to finish 5th grade, and my father couldn't finish 8th grade. For someone with my background, desire shaped me. So pay attention to your desire. It can motivate you to work hard, making you good at what you do and love what you do. If you love what you do, you don't have to work for a day, as Confucius said once. See, desire can be magical. My second story is about attitude and how one can turn a negative situation through a positive attitude. I was reading about a rare disease when I came across the story of Lizzie Velasquez. Once labeled the words ugliest woman redefined the essence of beauty. Lizzie was born with a rare syndrome. Only 2 other cases are known worldwide. Because of the disease, she doesn't have any fat tissue. Now 25-year-old, she weighed only 64 pounds and is blind in one eye. When she was in high school, she found herself on a YouTube video that labeled her the words ugliest woman. It had 4 million hits. This is devastating to a teenage girl. She woke up every day wanting a different look. Then Lizzie decided to face her pain differently. She said, the only way that I would change is I change my attitude about it. My life is in my hands. I could either choose to make this really good or choose to make this really bad. Her positive attitude empowered her. She became an inspirational speaker and author on the essence of beauty. Her story touched many. When time's getting tough for you, remember Liz's wisdom. Focus on your goal and make a positive difference. My final story is about keeping an open mind. In college, I was fascinated by the great discoveries I learned from textbooks and lectures. I recall wondering, with all this great discovery already published, would there be much left for me after I graduate? Later, I learned a metaphor. If the circle represents known, the periphery of the circle represents what's unknown. Then the bigger the circle, the known, represents the larger the periphery and the unknown. In science, recognizing unknown is recognizing opportunity towards discovery. As we know a little now, as we know a lot now, there are so much more opportunity in biomedical sciences. One example is stroke, caused by shortage of blood supply. A stroke put my father, who endured political torture, in a wheelchair for another unbearable 15 years. There are many patients like my father who suffer from cardiovascular diseases. Despite recent progress, there is no cure or prevention. Another example is cancer, which still takes many lives despite our decades war on cancer. One chemotherapy, 5-fluorouracil, has been used to treat certain cancers for 50 years without a substitute, despite its limited efficacy and major side effects. My lab team studies both stroke and cancer, 2 separated fields. We connect the 2 because we are open to the idea that cut off the blood supply can stop and kill cancer, whereas restore blood supply would treat stroke. So if we identify genes that can control blood supply, then we may identify therapeutic candidates for both diseases. With an open mind and imagination, one may connect the dots that are not otherwise apparent. One successful example of open mind is in discovery for AIDS treatment. Only a few years after HIV was identified in this country, AZT, a failed cancer drug, was found effective in treating HIV. Now, AIDS is no longer a life sentence. This is a big step forward. Thank all the support from community and scientific effort. For many other diseases, we don't know why they occur and how to treat them. Reducing human suffering from disease is one of the greatest challenges of our time, I think. And at the same time, it presents us tremendous opportunities. What is true in science is true in life. An open mind is important in just about everything we do. As you embark on your next journey, follow your desire, choose a positive attitude, keep an open mind. May you experience the unanticipated success in both your professional and personal lives. Best of luck.
Thank you, Dr. Wong, for your inspiring and thought-provoking words. You remind these graduates that the world deeply needs their talents, their involvement, and their lifelong commitment to each other and the greater good.
As you watch the procession of students, faculty, and the platform party onto the stadium, you notice that all are dressed in academic regalia for the ceremony this afternoon, linking today's activities with the tradition of scholastic antiquity. Many of our academic rituals date from the Middle Ages in Europe, when the church was the center of learning. The earliest colleges in Europe adopted some of the mood and style of monasteries, which is reflected in the traditional gowns and mortarboards worn by scholars today. The hood represents a cowl, which was formerly used to cover the head. It is now worn as an emblem, upon which silk, satin, or velvet borders can denote the wearer's academic degree, their field of study, and the institution from which the degree was granted. The official colors of the university line the inside of the hood, in our case, purple and gold, and the outer color indicates the field in which the degree was earned. By placing the hood on the candidate, we proclaim that the graduate has joined the company of scholars recognized throughout the world. Before hooding all of our scholars here today, we will present the 2014 recipients of the Graduate Award for Distinguished Achievement. These students have been selected by their faculty for academic excellence, scholarship, and service. Placing the hood on each student will be Ann Hallam, Dean of Graduate Studies. And ladies and gentlemen, please hold your applause until all the students have been hooded.
Students receiving the Graduate Distinguished Achievement Award are Arthur Adams, Master of Science in Physics. Marul Emir, Engineering. Rachel Arts, Master of Business Administration. Hiba Ushraf, Master of Science in Biology with a concentration in Physiology and Behavioral Biology. Sarah Ayazi, Master of Science in Counseling. Silvia Maria Valles, Master of Arts and Art Education. Carlo Luis Puruganan Barlan, Master of Arts in International Relations. Emma Nye Beck, Master of Geosciences. Amy Catherine Bell, Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing. Leslie Ann Rice Bach, Master of Fine Arts in Art. Kathleen Bradley, Master of Arts in Education with a concentration in Mathematics Education. Brandon Braun, Master of Arts in Classics. Cheryl Ann Brodzinski, Master of Fine Arts in Theater Arts. Hugh Man Christine Chu, Master of Science in Psychology with a concentration in Clinical Psychology. Michael Robert Chasse, Master of Arts in Geography with a concentration in Resource Management and Environmental Planning. Audrey de Bouverie, Master of Science in Communicative Disorders. Liquen Chua, Master of Science in Kinesiology. Giovanni Diaz Mendez, Master of Science in Biomedical Science with a concentration in stem cell science. Rachel Fuld Cohen, Master of Science in Counseling. Megan Jennifer Dyfoon, Master of Arts in Education with a concentration in Early Childhood Education. Craig Porperia, Master of Arts in Art. James Enright, Master of Science in Engineering with a concentration in Structural Earthquake Engineering. Leah Fabi de Mathieu, Master of Arts in French. Petra Elena Ferretti, Master of Arts in Italian. Carly Alicia Drutz, Master of Arts in Museum Studies. Elizabeth Skyla Friedemann, Doctor of Physical Therapy. Suzanne El Gamal, Master of Public Administration. Bridget Glenn, Master of Arts in Women and Gender Studies. Xian Feng, Master of Fine Arts in Cinema. Stephanie Chen-Wu Gluck, Master of Arts in Psychology with a concentration in developmental psychology. Caitlin Flatibow, Master of Arts in Psychology with a concentration in developmental psychology. Jeffrey Wayne Hamby, Master of Fine Arts in Theater Arts. Brittany Gayboul, Master of Public Administration. Teresa Hodges, Master of Arts in Asian American Studies. Ina Goldstein, Master of Arts in Education with a concentration in Instructional Technologies. Ian Kevin Lawrence, Master of Arts in Asian American Studies. Wesley Blake Heidenreich, Master of Arts in Communicative Disorders. Mary Jane Lee, Master of Arts in Family and Consumer Sciences. Minji Kim, Master of Business Administration. Anthony Xavier Lopez, Master of Science in Biology with a concentration in cell and molecular biology. Shouko Kita, Master of Arts English with a concentration in teaching English to speakers of other languages. Kirsten McAlee, Master of Arts in Special Education. Richard Allen Weepking Jr., Master of Arts in Political Science. Robert Magbanwa, Jr., Master of Science in Kinesiology. Nicole Turnipseed, Master of Arts in English with a concentration in composition. Christina Merrick, Master of Arts in Psychology with a concentration in mind, brain, and behavior. Skylar Taylor, Doctor of Physical Therapy. Kayvon Mojtahed Zadeh, Master of Arts in Industrial Arts. Ingrid Siss, Master of Arts in Education with a concentration in Language and Literacy Education. Jayev Nahal, Master of Science in Physics. Mario Solano, Master of Arts in Education with a concentration in Educational Administration. Teikako Nishikawa, Master of Arts in Japanese. James Richard Sheldon, Master of Arts in Special Education. Matthew O'Neill, Master of Science in Kinesiology. Jorge Sanchez Cruz, Master of Arts in Spanish. Anthony Raja, Master of Science in Biology with a concentration in cell and molecular biology. Carrie Ryer, Master of Arts in Political Science. Jeff Roast, Master of Science in Geosciences. Jennifer Rogers, Master of Arts in Communication Studies. Hazare Ryan, Master of Science in Engineering with a concentration in Structural and Earthquake Engineering. Adam David Reed, Master of Arts English with a concentration in teaching English to speakers of other languages. Audrey Ann Salinas, Master of Science in Biology with a concentration in Physiology and Behavioral Biology. Tanya Rau, Master of Science in Recreation, Parks, and Tourism. Ranuma Sanjanai, Master of Arts in Economics. Dan Chiao, Master of Science in Computer Science with a concentration in Computing for Life Sciences. Tanvi Sikand, Master of Arts in Broadcast and Electronic Communication Arts. Education. Chris Wilson Simpkins, Master of Arts in English with a concentration in Literature. Armine Noravian, Doctor of Education in Educational Leadership. Joseph Squilacci, Master of Arts in Mathematics. Eamon Muniz, Master of Arts in Sexuality Studies. Jessica Tokunaga, Master of Public Health. Scott Molina, Master of Business Administration. Paul Andrew Tubig, Master of Arts in Philosophy. Amandira Motar, Master of Business Administration. Jennifer White, Master of Arts in Philosophy. Zoe Minitz, Master of Arts in English with a concentration in creative writing. Hannah Winkler, Master of Arts in Mathematics. Nicholas Waklarowitz, Master of Arts in International Relations. Alejandro Arriaga Corona, Master of Science in Chemistry. Please join me in congratulating our recipients of the 2014 Graduate Student Distinguished Achievement Award.
And now it is time to introduce our college deans who will present our 2014 Graduate Hood recipients. The College Hood recipient is the student who has received the highest honor from their faculty and represents all the students of the college. Will the deans please stand as you're introduced, and please remain standing. Linda Oubre, Dean of the College of Business. Elizabeth Keene, Interim Dean of the Graduate College of Education. Kenneth Montero, Dean of the College of Ethnic Studies. Don Taylor, Dean of the College of Health and Social Sciences. Paul Sherwin, Dean of the College of Liberal and Creative Arts. Sheldon Axler, Dean of the College of Science and Engineering. Please join me in acknowledging the deans of the colleges. And now would the deans and their College Hood recipients please come forward for hooding. Representing all College of Business students receiving their master's degree today is Noah Wheeler, who is earning a Master of Science in Accounting.
For his final research project, Noah discussed the history and development of international accounting standards, provided a detailed analysis of the recent efforts of the United States to meet global accounting standards, and provided predictions on the future of the standardization effort. He successfully completed an internship at one of the top San Francisco accounting firms last summer and will begin working as an audit associate there this fall. In addition to being a top student, Noah is a student leader. While working towards his degree, he also helped to found a new organization, Graduate Students in Accounting Association. The GSAA has been instrumental in ensuring that College of Business, Masters of Science and Accounting students have a job upon graduation. Please join me in applauding Noah Wheeler.
And now representing all Graduate College of Education students receiving their master's degree today is Raynell Cruz Gomez, who is earning a Master's of Art in Education with a concentration in Equity and Social Justice.
Thesis research on educational attainment trajectories of children of incarcerated parents, Raynell generated important recommendations for how caring educators and school leaders can reach out to these children to make real differences in their lives. Rather than adopting a deficit model that looked upon this population as a problem, She sought to learn how resilience often arises in this group. Raynell's goal is to be a principal or head of a school supporting socioeconomically disadvantaged young women in acquiring the cultural capital and business acumen that will allow them to be competitive in college as well as the workplace. Please join me in applauding Raynell Cruz Gomez.
Representing all College of Ethnic Studies students receiving their master's degree today is Imelda Munoz, who's earning a Master's of Arts in Ethnic Studies.
Imelda was a recipient of several fellowships during her graduate studies, including the prestigious Sally Casanova Predoctoral Fellowship. Her thesis project was titled, "It's Happening in Salinas, Life Stories of Rural, Queer, and Transgender Immigrant Latinos in the Salinas Valley." Using oral histories and the Latin American tradition of testimonio, she developed moving personal narratives and portraits of undocumented queer youth. Accepted for doctoral studies by several major universities, Imelda will pursue her PhD in Latin American Studies at the University of Texas at Austin. The top student admitted to that distinguished program, she was awarded the most prestigious graduate fellowship. Please join me in applauding Imelda Munoz.
Representing all College of Health and Social Sciences students receiving their master's degree today is Ren Gould, who's earning a Master's of Social Work.
Ren's thesis explored race-based differences in the transgender community, particularly seeking to explain the higher rates of suicide among Black, Latino, Native American, and mixed-race transgender people. The study hypothesizes that transgender people of color are targeted for more discrimination and community violence, thereby exacerbating the risk of suicide. Ren's analysis demonstrates how discrimination statistically mediates the relationship between race and history of suicide attempt. A social justice advocate, Ren has supported communities in struggle for 8 years while advocating for policy change and hopes to use direct services to galvanize social justice movements. Please join me in applauding Ren Gould.
Representing all College of Liberal and Creative Arts students receiving their master's degree today is Julie McLean Powell, who is earning a Master of Arts in History.
Julie presented her paper, Pastoral Song and the Marian Body, Discursive Iconoclasm in 16th Century Paris, at UCLA's History Plus conference. The paper was accepted for publication by Past Tense, Graduate Review of History, and won a Nels Andrew Clevin Founders Prize from the National History Honor Society, Phi Alpha Theta. Her article, Triumph and Commemoration, Collective Imagination and the Ground Zero Mosque Controversy, was accepted for publication in UCLA's Historical Journal. In her final project, Julie completed a comprehensive examination on the history of Europe since 1500. She will continue her studies this coming fall with generous fellowship support in the History Doctoral Program at Ohio State University. Please join me in congratulating Julie McLean Powell.
Representing all college science and engineering students receiving their master's degree today is Diana Hernandez Juarez Madera, who is earning a Master of Science in Physics.
You have already met Diana as our student speaker. Deanna presented a poster on the preliminary results of her thesis research titled Simulations of the Dynamics of Coupled Gas and Dust in Protoplanetary Disks at the winter meeting of the American Astronomical Society in 2013. As a member of Project Astro, Diana teaches physics and astronomy to middle school students in the Bay Area. She has also given numerous talks for elementary school students, exposing them to the wonders of the universe. Deanna won multiple scholarships at San Francisco State and was accepted to several PhD programs. She will enter the doctoral program in aeronautics and astronomics at Stanford University in the fall with a full tuition fellowship and large stipend. Please join me in applauding Diana Hernandez Juarez Madera.
And now we begin the conferral of degrees. President Leslie Wong, University Provost Sue Rosser, and Dean of Graduate Studies Ann Hallam will present the candidates for the doctoral degree. San Francisco State University offers 4 doctoral degrees, 3 jointly with the University of California, the Doctor of Physical Therapy and Doctor of Physical Therapy Science, in partnership with the University of California, San Francisco, the Doctor of Philosophy and Special Education in partnership with the University of California, Berkeley, and Doctor of Education and Educational Leadership, which we offer independently. With us on the platform are 2 students who today will earn their doctoral degree through one of these programs. Provost Rosser will present them now.
By the joint action of the Board of Regents of the University of California and the Board of Trustees of the California State University, we are awarding the degree Doctor of Physical Therapy. We are conferring this degree with the University of California, San Francisco. Representing all the students who this year have earned this degree is Lauren Friedemann. Will Lauren Friedemann please come forward for investiture of the hood? President Wong, subject to the completion of all requirements as prescribed by the Board of Regents of the University of California, the trustees of California State University, and the faculties of the University of California, San Francisco, and San Francisco State University, Lauren Friedemann is presented for receipt of the degree Doctor of Physical Therapy.
On the recommendation of the administrative and teaching faculty of San Francisco State University and of the University of California, San Francisco, and by the authority vested in me as president of the university by the state of California under the provisions of the Donahoe Higher Education Act, I confer upon you, Lauren Friedemann, and all members of the Doctor of Physical Therapy class of 2014, the degree Doctor of Physical Therapy, with all the rights, honors, and opportunities attached thereto.
All right. I almost grabbed you the first time.
This year, we graduate the 5th group of students to earn the degree Doctor of Education in Educational Leadership. This is an independent degree offered by the California State University. Representing all of our 2014 EDD graduates is Avani Patel. Will Avani Patel please come forward for hooding by Dean Hallam and remain at the podium. President Wong, subject to the completion of all requirements as prescribed by the Board of Trustees of the California State University and the faculty of San Francisco State University, Avani Patel is presented for receipt of the degree Doctor of Education in Educational Leadership.
Upon the recommendation of the administrative and teaching faculty of San Francisco State University, and by the authority vested in me as president of the university by the state of California under the provisions of the Donahoe Higher Education Act, I confer upon you, Avani Patel, and all members of the EDD class of 2014, the degree Doctor of Education in Educational Leadership, with all the rights, honors, and opportunities attached thereto.
We now begin the conferral of master's degrees. University Provost Sue Rosser will present the candidates for master's degree. Please rise and remain standing as your degree is announced. The candidates for the degree Master of Arts, please rise.
Stand up. Yeah.
The candidates for the degree Masters of Business Administration, please rise. The candidates for the degree Master of Fine Arts, please rise. The candidates for the degree Master of Music, please rise. The candidates for the degree Master of Public Administration, please rise. The candidates for the degree Master of Public Health, please rise. The candidates for the degree Master of Science, please rise. And the candidates for the degree Master of Social Work, please rise.
President Wong, subject to the completion of all requirements as prescribed by the trustees of the California State University and the faculty of San Francisco State University, these candidates are presented for receipt of the appropriate master's degrees.
Upon the recommendation of the administrative and teaching faculty of San Francisco State University, and by the authority vested in me as president of the university by the state of California, under the provisions of the Donahoe Higher Education Act, I confer upon each of you who has completed the requirements the master's degree for which you are listed in the commencement program, together with all rights, privileges, and responsibilities attached thereto.
And now will the master's degree recipients please be seated. In a few moments, faculty marshals will guide you to the stages row by row for hooding. After you've been hooded, please return to your seats for the President's concluding remarks and the formal recessional out of Cox Stadium. Will the faculty marshals please direct the degree recipients to the stages starting from the front? We ask that the graduates wait for the marshal's instructions, and then upon hooding, graduates must return to their seats, enjoy the success of your fellow graduates, and await the President's concluding remarks and formal recessional.
Okay, one last message. I have one last message that I hope you carry with you as you transition from student to graduate. Today, you become San Francisco State University graduates, and I want to take a moment to reflect a bit on what that means. We are an institution where excellence is applied. The faculty and staff that come to work at San Francisco State could work anywhere. They choose to work here because they get to see their academic and professional expertise applied to the lives of our students, whether it's laboratory research, artistic performance, or in community service activities. They not only advance human understanding, they do it with students at their side, and both of them make a difference. And now it is your turn as graduates to make a difference, to make it happen. You are among the most talented graduates in SF State's proud history, and I cannot wait to see what you accomplish. You will be leaders in science, industry, education, nonprofits, and the arts, and I can't wait to brag about your achievements as our alumni. But I also know that you have been encouraged by your mentors to apply your expertise in the community, to be engaged partners in the world around you. Your contributions to our public heritage are an important measure of the impact of San Francisco State University, and I hope you will remember to keep us posted on the good work that each of you do. One last thing. Please remember that SF State Gators there are SF Gators behind you. When you are looking for interns, hiring new employees, or building community organizations, remember SF State and the great talent that we have here. Thousands of new students are eager to follow in your footsteps, and a helping hand extended by a fellow Gator can make all the difference. I hope you'll take those final thoughts with you, and my thanks to each of you for indulging your president. And now to the class of 2014 and their families and friends assembled here today, congratulations on all that you have accomplished at San Francisco State, and best wishes to you on the road ahead.
And now will the faculty marshals please prepare to direct the graduates to follow the presidential party, deans, faculty, and distinguished achievement recipients out of the stadium. And audience, please honor and respect our graduates by remaining seated until all students leave the stadium. After the students leave the stadium, audience in the bleachers, please exit up the stairs and meet your graduate outside of the stadium. Please do not use the exit on the field. It's reserved for graduates, guests with disabilities, and emergency vehicle access. Thank you and congratulations, graduates.